And classify this next quadrilateral, starting with graphing it. So when we graph it, we end up with a shape that looks like that. This helps us figure out what the sides are as well as what the diagonals are. And once we figure out what the sides and the diagonals are, so the sides are PL, LA, AY, and YP, diagonals are PA and YL, then we can go ahead and perform the same calculations we did before. So the slope's 5/8 in that case. The square root of 5 squared plus 8 squared works out to be the square root of 96, and so on. And it turns out in the end, just by looking at this, we can see that the slopes are the same on opposite sides, which means they're parallel. And that, in and of itself, tells us we're looking at a parallelogram. We also see that all 4 sides are indeed congruent, which means it's a rhombus. However, when we look at the adjacent slopes, so 5/8 and 8/5, they are reciprocals of each other, but they're not opposite reciprocals. This means there are no right angles. And if you look at the drawing, it definitely doesn't look like there are any right angles. Now you are asked, of course, also to find the length and slope of the diagonals. And it turns out that the diagonals are perpendicular because 1 and -1 are opposite. One's positive, one's negative, and they are reciprocals of each other. If you flip one, you still get 1. And when you calculate the midpoints, you come up with the same midpoint, which is consistent with this being a rhombus, which is also a parallelogram. Now, of course, we know that for a rhombus, the slopes of the diagonals should be perpendicular, and it does show that they are, and they're certainly not the same length.